Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to the Club Calling Show brought to you by Sky Bet. We've been absolutely loving doing these, and the OGs that have got involved have been absolutely fantastic. Remember, if you want to get involved, there's a link for the Discord in the description below. Click that link, get in the Discord, and you could be one of the lucky callers on the show. We ready for this, boys?
Ready.
Yep.
Right then, let's get stuck into these calls. We've got Raphael, who's a Chelsea fan. Great name. Let's see what he's got to say.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Rafa.
Well, it's very nice to meet you guys. I'm a huge fan, been following you guys since before you guys started the club. I find all of you fantastic.
We don't talk about that period.
That's really kind of you, Raphael. Thank you so much. We hugely appreciate it. Where are you calling from?
Well, I live in Texas, but I'm originally from Argentina. So
Argentina.
Mate, love
That's
that. I'd love to go to Texas.
What part of Argentina?
Buenos Aires.
Oh, mate, I'd love to go there as well. I want to see Oasis play at the
I'm a
Bombonera in
Boca
the summer.
Juniors fan more than anything else, but I love Chelsea. I fell in love with them with Hazard and everything.
Oh, amazing. What was on your mind? I've seen that it's something about Harry Kane.
I always find that the British media talks about Harry Kane like he's the second coming of Jesus, that he's the best striker that there is around and everything. And I just think he's just overrated. Mind you, he's not a bad striker. He's a very, very good striker. He can score a lot of goals. But in those big moments, he just goes missing.
He's the best striker in the world at the moment, though, isn't he?
I don't know. I genuinely think Lewandowski is doing much better. He's not getting the goals, but the way he's playing, moving, helping the team, I just find him much better than
Kane. Okay, but it's Kane's top three guaranteed.
Yeah, you can never say
Rory
2 or
thinks
3
one,
players
I
are
think
better.
2, whatever. Yeah, he's top 3 guaranteed with Haaland, right?
Oh, I don't know. I genuinely Alvarez yesterday with the Champions League, I just found him to play.
He's not better than Harry Kane, is he, Julian Alvarez?
Harry Kane, since he went to Bayern Munich, I saw this stat a few weeks ago, so it may have changed. But since he landed in Germany, bearing in mind like his contribution to the team, he scored 80 goals. 80. Like, it feels to me like he only went there yesterday.
That is impressive, but I just don't think he's that good of a striker to consider him.
This is interesting, Raphael. What's he not? If I were to say to you, Harry Kane's flaws, so not necessarily the more existential stuff, like does he perform on the biggest level and things like that. Just as a striker, watching him week in, week out, what is Harry Kane not good at?
He's not very dynamic. I don't think he has that movement. He doesn't have the I don't want to say just pace, but I'm talking about that acceleration, changing the game on a dime, like grabbing the ball, taking the team by the scruff of the neck and pushing them forward. Especially against Italy. That was one of the worst performances I've seen from him.
Oh no,
there
were lots of examples. There were lots of examples of Kane having a bad game. Of course. I mean, he had, in my opinion at least, a terrible tournament. I think that his inclusion actually in various games in Germany cost England a tournament. I think we could have won it if we'd been a bit bolder and maybe played Ivan Toney or Ollie Watkins. But he's a sensational footballer. He's one of the best footballers I've ever seen.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that he isn't sensational or anything, but as a striker, he doesn't have that moment. He doesn't have the Aguero moment. He doesn't have the Drogba clutching up in the Champions League. Again, I know he was injured and he was just coming back.
He's very good, but he's not the greatest, which is what some people say he is.
Is he top 10 Premier
Gary
League?
Neville talks about him specifically as an amazing talent that he changes a club and everything.
But I do think if United had signed him, let's say instead of Højlund, you're looking at a very different Manchester United team right now. And I do think, whilst I tend to agree that some people do go over the top with him, I believe he's better than Alan Shearer, right? And people will kind of say maybe Alan Shearer because he had 1 league title more than him. I don't, as much as I like to take the mick with Harry Kane and laugh at how he hasn't won a trophy, I think regardless of trophies, he's clearly better than Alan Shearer, who was one of the greats.
Raphael, if Bayern Munich were to win the Champions League this year in their home stadium, the final is at the Allianz Arena, if Harry Kane were to guide Bayern Munich to European silverware, they're on course for domestic silverware, if he were to have a season like that, would you reevaluate your take on this?
Somewhat. If he's genuinely involved in the final, he scores a goal. He's very involved. I would say yes. I would consider it more. It's just the lack of trophies kind of shows. The one year he goes to Bayern Munich, after 11 years of just winning straight trophies. Again, that's Bayer Leverkusen, amazing team. I understand, but still, he doesn't.
It wasn't
take
Harry
He
Kane's
tries
fault
his
that they
best.
didn't win the league, was it? It wasn't Harry Kane's
No,
fault.
it isn't.
It wasn't Harry Kane's
amazing
fault. He was
season.
at Spurs. It was his fault that he stayed there too long. I think it was his fault that he had a poor tournament for England. That's his responsibility. He had a poor tournament. He was fit for a large part of it. He's top 10 Premier League strikers of all time, isn't he? I think the debate is when people say he's number 1, number 2. I've heard people say he's better than Henry, better than Aguero. I think it's absolutely crazy. But I think he's top 6, 7 in the Premier League of all time.
Agree.
Yeah, I also think
Easy.
like you struggle to, especially in this day and age, struggle to name many strikers even on his level.
I don't think
Like
I don't agree that Erling Haaland.
I think he's a
or
better
Robert
all-round player than
Lewandowski
Erling Haaland. I think Lewandowski.
If Harry Kane had gone to City, I believe, and this is like sliding doors, Gwyneth Paltrow, like we never know, but I honestly believe that if Manchester City had signed Kane instead of Haaland, Kane would have the Haaland numbers.
But then Haaland had his numbers at Dortmund at a different club as well.
No, that's what I mean. I think
Scored 40 and 40 and stuff like that. And Kane never did that.
I just think that Kane would score this volume, or at least very close to this volume of goals.
He's never displayed that in his career.
I mean, you know, the final
What's
season.
his highest Premier League goal scoring season? 30, 29?
For a Tottenham team that were
30.
languishing around.
But
for
you
a
can't
Tottenham
just say,
team languishing around mid-table.
What Haaland's doing is once in a generation. Once in a
You know
generation.
the
You can't
final
just say,
season. You know the final season that Harry Kane had at Tottenham when Haaland had that season. On some level, Harry Kane had a better season than Haaland.
I agree.
He was doing it for
if
like.
you were saying, he would contribute to the side, he'd be a better total footballer, I'd agree with you. I think the numbers, he's never proven he'd score Haaland numbers. He's never scored 50 goals in a season.
No, but
never.
Scoring 30 for a Tottenham team that were
That's
woeful.
incredible.
Is that not?
Yeah, but
is
we
that
don't
not
know.
more impressive than scoring 50 for a City
No,
team
it's not.
that won the treble?
No. Scoring goals in a treble-winning season, that is a better season than what Harry Kane had that season.
Interesting, Raphael. I think it's very interesting. You're a Chelsea fan, right? Where are we going to finish this season?
Genuinely, I have no idea. I'm hoping 5th, praying, but I highly doubt it. I just don't think we have it in us.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. Raphael, thank you so much for your call. We really do appreciate it. It's brilliant to talk to you. It's interesting, the Harry Kane debate, isn't it? It's one that's going to rage on until he wins silverware. And I think if he were to win, say he were to win a European Cup this year, I suddenly think that everybody views it so differently. It really is that significant, and he just needs to get that monkey off his back. Should we speak to Declan Rice, the Arsenal fan?
Hello, can you hear me?
How are we doing, Dec?
How are you?
Very good. I'm calling from the lovely city of Melbourne down in Australia right now.
Amazing.
Crazy.
The Ashes are coming soon, right?
I bet if we did a percentage of callers,
yes,
most
very-
are Australian. Sorry,
Yeah.
Dec.
No, that's all good. Yeah, very keen for the Ashes, Rory. Can't wait to beat
You're
England
going to get
once
battered,
again.
mate.
Absolutely not.
You're going to get
The
battered.
Aussies get battered.
Not a chance.
Everywhere they go.
Who do you support,
Sorry,
Declan?
when was the last time you won the Ashes?
2005,
Oh,
isn't
for
it? Feels like.
No,
Been a hot minute.
are you? You're an Arsenal fan.
That's right. Yeah. Today I was wanting to discuss just the discourse in general around Arteta. I feel like he's quite disrespected in terms of his achievements at the club. I just want to preface this by saying that I'm not one of those like deluded AFTV Arsenal fans. I consider myself a bit of a realist. Like I'm more than willing to accept that he is a flawed manager. Like there's definitely some stuff that he does that really frustrates me. But I feel like people have forgotten very quickly just how bad lockdown Arsenal was.
Yeah, I agree.
Like it was a painful experience. Like I like back in those days, I would have donated a left kidney just to finish 4th once. And the fact that we're challenging for titles every year, and basically the only reason we haven't won one in the last few years is because we're competing with the juggernaut that is Man City.
This season, that doesn't work though. That rationale doesn't work this season, which is why the criticism has intensified.
Oh, I agree. I absolutely agree. But I also like we're still second, and also I like
second and
Buvey
out
loves-
of it though, right?
Yes. Well, I'm very willing to concede that we're not winning it this year. But Buvey loves bringing up the fact that Arteta spent a lot of money. But you look at Chelsea, you look at Man United, they've also spent a similar amount of money in the same period, and look at how they're doing. I think that the money that Arteta spent in general, most of his signings have worked out well. His more recent signings have been a bit hit and miss. But you look at Odegaard, you look at Gabriel has been an immense signing. Declan Rice has been amazing.
David Raya has been good.
Raya's been great. Timber's
Ben
been
White.
Yes, Ben White. The list goes on. Like I couldn't list off the top of my head how many, like, in the last 10 years has Man United made 5 good signings.
Yeah, but you can't just use Man United or Chelsea.
Oh.
They're different examples. They're their own clubs that in their own messes, with all due respect. But you still spent a lot of money, and you've won one FA Cup in 5 years, and the FA Cup there was no one in the stadium. So you've not really had a major win in many years. Many years.
So this reason here is why I think that Arteta is a bit disrespected. The fact that he's only won 1 trophy in 5 years is obviously unacceptable. But you look at the progress that he's made since he came in, and I still am not 100% certain that he is going to be the guy that will get us to the promised land of winning a title or winning a Champions League. But I think you have to respect the job that he's done in elevating us from being a Europa League level club at best to consistently challenging for the title and building a squad that is capable of winning a title. And also, I think there's just 1 or 2 signings away.
Yeah,
From,
Declan,
that striker signing is just.
we don't
Declan,
know
I don't disagree with you. By the way, for a lot of what you said, I think that Mikel Arteta has done a stellar job. I genuinely do. I think that he is disrespected, and your overall point I agree with. But at the beginning of the season, if we had said that Manchester City are going to capitulate, we would have all said that Arsenal have to win the league. Off the back of what they did last year, off the back of what Arsenal were doing this time last year, off the back of that ridiculous run that Arsenal went on, off the back of the money spent, the cumulative years, the so many attempts, like being in a job 5 years in the Premier League is a lot of time these days. Like, it's a lot of time. You know, the average manager lasts about 18 months to 5 years.
Mm.
All of that combined,
That's true.
at what point, if it's not this season, I'm inclined to agree with you, by the way. I think that you should be patient. I think he does deserve this. But what about next season? If you don't get somewhere next season, if you don't win a significant trophy next season, because I don't think you're going to win one this year, if you don't win one next season, do you feel like it's not about whether he's disrespected or not? Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But you yourself have said that he's not the man to take you to the promised land of a Premier League title. So if he's not, why persevere?
I'm still not 100% sure, yeah.
But if he's not the man, why persevere?
I'm saying he's not 100% sure, but I also think that one thing that I've learnt from the Wenger experience is that the grass isn't always greener. And I think that persevering with him for the moment is still the right call. Also, on your point of the cumulative title challenges that we've had in recent times, I really feel like that's taken a toll on our players, like physically. Like, you look at how many injuries that we've copped this year, like Saka going down, Odegaard went down early. That hurt us really badly, especially after losing Smith Rowe. We didn't have anyone that could really play that attacking mid-role. And I think that has really set us back in the title charge this season.
It's set you back in the title charge for decisions Arteta has made, though. The fact that Odegaard gets injured and you don't have Emile Smith Rowe or you don't have Fabio Vieira, you don't have players that can play that role.
And also, in the summer, I think they spent heavily on defensive areas when you could argue they needed some
creativity
depth in the front three. And again, you kind of, from all the sounds around the club, it kind of felt like that was more of an Arteta directive than an Edu directive. And now Edu's gone, you're probably going to see a little bit more pressure put on Arteta because he's going to be the guy pulling most of the strings.
100%. I couldn't agree more. I was really, really frustrated with our summer window, especially like letting go of someone like Smith Rowe, even a Reece Nelson. Like, he was a really good squad player for us, and bringing in, oh my God, Sterling. Oh my God. Watching him recently is fuck me. Just fuck me. Like, he is so done.
Your issue is that next season City will be above you for sure. Whether City are good enough to surpass Liverpool is the debate for a different video. But City will finish above Arsenal next season. I think City will finish above you this season. So you're in a world of peace in the next couple of years.
Do you think City finish above Liverpool? Sorry, City finish above Arsenal this season. Yeah. What do you think to that, Declan?
Yeah. Oh, he's such a wind-up merchant.
Not insurmountable.
Come back on the show in the summer. 100%.
It's not insurmountable. What about this then? You've got to call back, Declan.
Okay, I've just pulled up the table. Sorry, we're 7 points ahead of Man City right now, and I think that is a significant gap with 11 games to go. And I feel like even though we're not at our best,
it's not 7. You lose to Liverpool at Anfield, so it's 4 points. You're not going to beat Liverpool. No way.
We take a point off.
Paul Merson, your legend from the night, he said you're more likely to win the Premier League this season than even win the Champions League.
But it's not about it's more about how you've been in dropping points this season.
We're
as
better
well,
than you in
I
the last
think.
2 weeks, no question.
2 weeks. Declan, will you do us a favour?
Sorry. How are you going in the Champions League, Buvey? Just out of
Yeah.
Are you still? Are you still in Europe, Rory?
Yeah, we're still in Europe.
I'm
We're
still
flying in Europe,
Deck,
mate.
are your team still in Europe?
Who have you got
we
next
just
round in
gave
Europe?
PSV a Brazilian, mate, 7-1.
Yeah.
Are you still in Europe, Booth?
That was a big game for Arsenal.
Declan, will you do us a
PSV.
favour? But you have to be bold enough to accept this challenge.
Sure.
You have to call back when it is definitive whether Arsenal finish above City or City finish above Arsenal. You have to call back either way.
Absolutely.
Okay, Buvey.
I'm
Game
going to
on
be
for you.
singing Buvey's Head's Gone again. I can't
Yeah,
wait.
Enjoy it.
In your head.
City above Arsenal, 100% this season.
Okay, there we go. Declan, we look forward to speaking to you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Deck.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
mate.
It's interesting. Do you boys think that Mikel Arteta is at all
Is a tool.
disrespected?
Well, I do think it's a
Is
tool.
at all disregarded?
I don't think it. I think what happens when you're at a club like that is similar with Manchester United right now, right? Like, let's say Ruben Amorim next season manages to get us back into like the top 5. The season after, people are going to be demanding you win the league, and no one's going to go, well, actually, when they turned up, they were 13th. So let's just take our time with that. You get judged by the standards of the club that you're at, whether they've had a bad season recently or not.
He reminds me of Gareth Southgate. I think Gareth Southgate did a fantastic job in 2018. No, obviously different, like England versus Arsenal, but Southgate. We always knew he's never going to win a tournament, and he did it. He was at full stretch, full capacity.
You can't have felt
I think
like...
Arteta's at full capacity at Arsenal.
In Arteta's, just to end this point, with Gareth Southgate, even when England were in finals, semi-finals, I never felt like England would actually win. If I'm completely honest with you, I have genuinely believed that Arsenal are going to win at various points under Mikel Arteta.
That's your fear.
Yeah, that's
you
your
support
fear.
England, whereas you hate Arsenal. So your fear is
I've been in
Arsenal.
it as a City
That's
fan.
quite a good point.
I've been in it. I've
That's
never
good
been
from
that
you. He's
concerned.
got kind of gone psyched. You've got to be impressed. That's rare from him.
Yeah,
He's done well there.
concerned in a different kind of
What
way.
do you mean rare?
I've been in a title race with Arsenal. I've not been that concerned.
Really?
I've been more concerned with Jurgen Klopp's sides, with Alex Ferguson's sides, with Conte when he first came in.
Yeah.
100%.
You always know Arsenal are going to crumble.
Of course. You can see it with the way he operates on the touchline.
Should we speak now to a Liverpool fan who I imagine is going to be full of it? Let's speak to Harry. How are you, sir?
Welcome, Harry.
What's on your mind, Harry?
I just want to say, Arsenal, they're closer to becoming a club like Spurs than they are to winning anything.
Mate, we could have done. Do you know what we could have done with Harry? We just moments ago spoke to a caller called Declan who was suggesting that Mikel Arteta is disrespected. He's capable, and Arsenal are moving in the right direction. I wish that we could have got you two on at the same time. Us lot could have all had a cigar and
We could do
a
that
glass of
in the
scotch.
future.
Get
It's
them
a
on.
future idea for Jack. But Harry, why do you think that Arsenal are closer to becoming Spurs? As much as I like it, I want to hear your reasoning.
Well, they've not won anything other than the FA Cup for like the last 2 decades. So
Is it just
I
that
don't
reason?
really.
Yeah,
I don't think the FA Cup's like that big of a trophy anymore. Like, are you asked that you're not in the FA Cup anymore? Really?
No, I love the FA Cup. I was gutted on the
I love
weekend.
we're in it.
Yeah, I would love to be in the FA Cup, but I can't. Look, it doesn't have the prestige that it had in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Of course, it doesn't.
I'm sure they would trade all these FA Cups for one Champions League.
Of course they would.
Of course.
Of course they would. So do you just not see them as a threat, Harry? This season, it's been you versus Arsenal for the Premier League title, and more recently, you've pulled away. You've demonstrated a resilience and an aptitude that has left you clearly the winners of the Premier League. At various points this season, though, were you scared of Arsenal?
Nah, never. Never scared of Arsenal.
Really?
And
That's
they say,
telling.
they don't have a striker, or they have injuries, but we went to Etihad the other week and won without a striker. Do you need a striker, like, really, to win trophies nowadays?
Interesting, Booth, that Harry has said there. At no point has he been scared. Like, I imagine, Harry, it's fair to say that when Man City were your rival, you were scared of them. Them closing you down, you closing them down. It felt like a genuine race. It just didn't have the same feel to it when it was Arsenal.
Yeah, definitely. I remember watching Man United play Man City and wanting United to win or wanting Everton to do us a favour. And Arsenal have just never been scared of them, especially this year. Like,
Telling, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot to respect with Arsenal. They're a young squad, but they're not killers, are they? They're not killers in the same way Man City and Liverpool have been in the last 5 or 6 years. But then, fair play to Liverpool. They've only won 1 in the last 7. It's going to be 2 in the last 8.
That's very true. Harry?
Yeah.
Do you know earlier I mentioned that we'd just spoken to someone called Declan who is based in Australia, an Arsenal fan who's very fond of Mikel Arteta?
Yeah.
We're going to put him on with you if you're up for that.
Yeah, that's good.
Amazing. Right, Declan.
Harry's wanted this for a long
Declan,
time.
can you hear me?
Hello, I'm back.
Declan, great to hear from you again. Declan, listen, the reason that we've asked you to join this call is because just off the back of speaking to you and, you were lavishing the praise on Mikel Arteta saying what a good job he's done. Our very next caller, Harry, just suggested that Arsenal are more likely to end up like Tottenham, more comparable to Tottenham than they are to win a league title. And what I said to Harry was, I was like, God, I wish we could have got you speaking to our friend Declan, who we'd just spoken to, and our wonderful producer has made that dream happen. What do you think to the assertion, Declan, that Arsenal are closer to becoming Tottenham than they are to winning a league title?
I was going to look at the table again. Let me just list some of the teams that are above Tottenham in the table right now. Crystal Palace, Brentford, Fulham, Brighton.
What about the
And you're
point?
saying
though,
that we're closer to them?
The point would be a team that basically win little to no silverware who are not capable of winning the Premier League. I think if you take Tottenham as a representation of a team that will underperform and uninspire, maybe the suggestion is that Arsenal are becoming
Arsenal
that.
Spursy. I can kind of see it. Arsenal are a
Arsenal
little bit
Spursy?
Spursy, aren't they?
Yeah,
Gonna have to
kind of
agree.
see it. That, like, because I could see the argument because, like, the way that we went out of the FA Cup this year against Man United was embarrassing.
Is it
I
exactly?
can't believe you agreed.
Oh, you never start. You know what you do?
No, Declan, you have to know.
Yeah,
You never
give an inch.
You can't go.
Never
I
give an
can
inch.
see where he's coming from because
Never
now
give an
you
inch.
fucked it.
Seriously, yeah, this
I
is what I'm
can't see
saying.
where-
Like I said, I had my reservations. I still have my reservations on Arteta, but I still think that until there's a very obvious candidate that comes across that is like a potential replacement, I think that he's the right man to stay right now. And I actually, just on Spurs as well, I actually think the same of Ange at Spurs. Because as an Australian, I have a love for Ange still, even though he's Tottenham at the moment.
But are you closer
what-
to being Spurs than you are to being league winners? Forget Arteta.
I think you're Spurs. I think
Forget-
you're Spurs in red. No question. You're only a few miles
my
down
God.
from Spurs.
Harry's just thrown this in the mix. and gone
Geographically
quiet,
Harry,
by
you
the way.
caused all
You're
sorts of
Spurs.
problems here.
Geographically, Arsenal are Spurs. You're near
this is
Spurs.
so wrong.
Of course you are.
Honestly-
You're Spurs in red. You're Spurs in red.
Spursy in red.
God, really?
What are those pranks where they call up a Chinese and then they call up an Indian restaurant and they talk to each other on the phone? What's that prank? It's like that.
Oh my God.
What is it? Yeah.
Yeah. What do you
Yeah, no, I know
reckon
what
to
you're
that?
talking
What
about.
do you reckon to it, Harry?
Arsenal put up no fight for the league, and this guy's put up no fight for my
Declan, we need to
Come
give
on,
him a
man.
chance to come
Declan,
back.
speak,
Well,
man.
yeah. I mean, he's not
Declan,
wrong.
man.
Look, here's
Back
the thing.
yourself.
Let him talk
I-
then.
I'm not hearing nothing out of it. I've got my fucking headphones on. I'm not hearing
Deckers.
nothing.
Over me, mate.
Come on, man.
Come on,
Deckers.
Deck.
Deckers.
The floor is yours, Deck.
Okay, so here's my thing with Arteta. Like, I love him, and I still think that until he gets over the hoodoo of winning a trophy in the next recent future, like, there is going to be these Spurs comparisons that come across. But
Until he wins a trophy in the next recent future.
in
man.
the next potential future, he
Deckers.
might win something.
I'm so sorry, Deck.
Nah,
You've
but-
done yourself in here.
Come on, Deckers.
Nah, but okay, on a serious note,
This is your
I
football
think
club,
that-
your boyhood club since you were a little kid. Come on.
On a serious
I'm more of an
note,
Arsenal fan than
we
him.
are never ever.
I love Arsenal.
We
man.
are never ever.
I'm an Arsenal
gonna
fan.
be-
Fuck it.
Go
Come
on,
on, Deckers.
Go on, Deck. Go on, Deck.
Let's go.
Get into it.
We got Buvey on
Get into
board.
Harry.
Man City have finally dropped off, and Booby's finally fucking fallen off the wheel.
I get the stick now.
He's gone to a
There we
different
go.
club.
Until he wins a trophy in the next.
In the recent
Recent
future. Back to the future. Back to the future.
So, Deck, forget Arteta. Get Arteta out of your head. Are Arsenal the
Yeah.
new Spurs? Are you Spursy in red?
Deckers, come on.
Okay. I still don't think we are, because Spursy have been doing it the entire history of the club. Arsenal, we consistently win FA Cups. We've won the most FA Cups.
They got more success than you in Europe. They won the Cup Winners' Cup in the 60s, didn't they? Late 60s.
Arsenal have won something.
You're really going back to the 60s, Buvey.
80s, wasn't
it?
They won the 61. They won the double. First ever team to win the double.
Plus, they're in North London. You moved from South East London to North London. Do you know that? So you're not actually from North London. You know that. You moved from Woolwich.
Okay.
Oh, you moved from Woolwich.
All right.
You moved from Woolwich.
Declan's just tapped
been
that.
to Woolwich, dry part of London, man. Dry part of London, Woolwich. It is.
Tap that. Sorry, Deck. We do apologise.
No, it's okay. I watch the club very frequently. I know Buvey likes. He's a wind-up merchant.
Sorry, mate. I'm only winding you up. Yeah, I'm only winding you up, mate. But you're slagging off England for the Ashes.
But Arsenal did get called Spurs, and you came on here and did nothing about it, Deck. So I don't know.
But
Deck.
It's Spurs. There's so much. Arsenal's so much further ahead of Spurs in terms of trophies, in terms of everything, the stature of club, like size of club, and everything. And the fact that
all joking aside, of course, and you're further ahead in the next 5 years. In the recent future, you're definitely going to potentially win something, maybe with Arteta.
Definitely, maybe.
Definitely, maybe.
Deckers, we're sorry,
absolutely.
man.
Absolutely,
Harry had
definitely,
Deck on the ropes, you know. Harry just threw the little bomb in there and then disappeared.
Yeah, it's fantastic from those lads. Should we move on to our next caller, Kai from Liverpool? Thank you very much, Declan and Harry. Kai, you there, mate? How are you?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Oh, fantastic.
Yarl. Yeah. Little Yarl. I love a little Yarl.
Texas here, 100%. Where are you from? Texas?
No. I'm from all over the map, to be honest, in America.
Nomadic community. I like that. Respect that.
I'm from Philadelphia, but born in West Virginia. So, yeah, backcountry.
In West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playgrounds where I spent most of my days. We're going to be all on that.
Yeah. What a show that was. Jeez.
What you got to say today, Kai?
So I'm calling to say I don't think Liverpool have been that good this season. I just think everyone else has been absolutely horrible. I think that Gravenberch, he's improved, but a lot of people are overhyping him. I hear Rory hype Luis Diaz all the time. He hasn't been that good either. A lot of our players, it's just been Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk carrying the entire team all season.
Spot on.
Like, and you're a Liverpool fan, yeah?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Well, no, go ahead, sorry.
No, let me finish your point. Finish it, because you were going to say next season.
I'm just saying next season, if we don't address it like DM, I still think it's a problem. We still need a 6. Because Gravenberch, he's great, but I still think he's just an 8.
No,
I don't really think he can cover that position.
This is crazy. You've been sensational. You can't honestly be talking about needing replenishment. Like, there's no way that Zubimendi would consider going to Liverpool now. He don't get a game.
I don't want Zubimendi anymore. I'm thinking Carlos Baliba. I want Moises Caicedo still. I want to take him from Chelsea.
They don't need any midfielders.
They do. They've still got gaps in the squad. And I don't think they're favourites to win the Champions League.
That midfield with Curtis Jones and Wataru Endo as their additional, right? So they got the 3 that start.
Yeah. Jones
plus Endo. What more do you want?
That's a great squad. He's saying as a pure defensive midfielder. Look at Real Madrid, Tchouameni. Yeah. Man City got Rodri. And I think you'd argue Liverpool don't have that ball-winning midfielder off the ball. I've said it from day dot at the start of the season.
Szoboszlai, McAllister.
They're not ball-winning. They're not Tchouameni. They're not Rodri.
Szoboszlai, McAllister.
Completely different players.
Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gravenberch is the best midfield in the world.
Yeah, and Kai's point is it's been fantastic. They're going to win the Premier League this season.
No, it is not.
But it is. On
Barcelona's midfield's great.
Midrid's midfield's better.
Madrid's is great.
Yeah. He's saying there's still gaps in the side.
Madrid's midfield of who is better than what?
Fede Valverde,
who's playing fullback.
Tchouameni. Yeah, but if he's playing in midfield, he's better. He's playing fullback because who else do they have there? Lucas Vazquez.
No, exactly. But surely, mate, I don't want this to be true. But if I were to say that Liverpool need replenishments in any position, that midfield is flawless.
But if they go into next season, let's say they go into next season and they don't buy that midfielder for the 6, and then City become good and all this kind of stuff, and now the 3rd, everyone will go, oh well, we knew Gravenberch wasn't a natural fit. We should have
Yeah.
They'll struggle. If they play Real Madrid in the final, they'll struggle against
They've
Real
already
Madrid.
beaten Real
midfield.
Madrid. They
No,
battered them.
and
Early start of the
They
season, it's
battered Real
different. When it
Madrid.
mattered, Real Madrid battered Man City in the knockouts. That's when it really matters. They'd lose to Real Madrid in the final now because of that midfield, in my opinion. Similar to when Trent got beat for the Vinicius in the final couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Liverpool. This is not a perfect Liverpool side. If you
think
add
it
all,
is,
it's not a perfect side.
No, it's
No
not.
way is it a perfect side.
So where would you
Their
improve?
striker,
Do you
they
agree
haven't
with Kai, midfielder?
Yeah, they need a midfielder, a new left back, and maybe a striker down like a pure striker down the middle. Depends about Salah,
Yeah.
of course. If you add up all the points that they could get by the end of the season, and being completely fair, they're not even going to get 95, 96 points.
They'll
I know it's a
break
very
90
harsh thing
though.
to say, but yeah, they'll break 90. It doesn't make-
90s are great.
yeah, but we talk about them very, very generously, but they've played against Man City, have been shocking this season. Arsenal have been flat. Man United have been poor. Chelsea have been poor. And they're not even going to get 97, 98. This isn't the best Liverpool side in the last 10 years. I'm not
Do
slagging
you
on
agree with
Forest
that,
Slot.
Kai?
Yeah, we only have 3 more points at this stage of the season compared to last season. 3 more points, right?
But at this
And
stage last season, we were talking about a quadruple.
I never want to hear that talk, to be honest. I hear you when you're saying that, we don't really like it. Yeah, just the quadruple, it's just not meant to be. But Ryan Gravenberch, I was in the same boat that I thought he was the answer to the 6, but when I watched him play against Newcastle and that 3-3 tie, he was so lightweight.
He was
so
knackered that day. He
lightweight.
was knackered that day. But that was the day that you went to St James's Park off the back of playing away at playing at home to Real Madrid, wasn't it? Didn't your
Yeah.
fixture? Hang on, Kai. This is a great call, by the way, Kai, because it's inspired a lot of debate. But if I remember rightly, I'm doing this off the top of my head, right? You played Man City, followed by Real Madrid, followed by Newcastle away, followed by the game against Everton that you didn't know was going to be postponed.
Yeah.
Come
It was
on, of course he looked
Madrid,
knackered.
then-
He's played Man City.
Yeah, the knackered chat
But
is
no,
a bit
but
not
that's
strange, but it's a little bit it's a bit harsh. But if you're talking about positionally, you can definitely get Gravenberch playing balls in behind. He's not a natural defensive midfielder.
Yeah,
There's still a gap there. 100%.
At the very least, he needs to rotate with somebody. I mean, you can't just have essentially 5 midfielders for 3 positions.
They wanted
Yeah,
That's
Kai,
essentially what it is.
Kai, let's play a game, right? Remember when it felt like so the midfield that you've ended up with is a midfield that you didn't necessarily anticipate ending up with. But let's think about how you got here. None of the players that you missed out on that felt like a disaster to Liverpool would get in your team now. You missed out on Caicedo. Caicedo doesn't get in
He
your
would
team
get into
now.
the team.
You
He'd get in
missed
the
out on
team.
I think he
Lavia.
might.
He doesn't get in your team.
You drop Szoboszlai and pay the other 2 as further.
No,
Szoboszlai's-
you need.
Szoboszlai's been immense.
If I'm dropping anyone, I'm dropping Gravenberch, even though I love him, just because Szoboszlai does the most running for the entire team. Without him, the team is dysfunctional.
You know,
Completely.
against Man United, Szoboszlai ran 12k.
Yeah, I'm not sagging him
Yeah.
off. I'm saying in the Champions League and in big moments, if Man
Who's it,
City come
Paul
back
Radcliffe?
next season, they still need a ball-winning midfielder. off the
Kai,
ball.
I'm going to be totally honest with you,
Yeah.
mate. You're top of the league. You're going to win the league. You've won the league already. You're going to win the European Cup. And you've had the cheek to call a Man City fan, a Chelsea fan, a Man United fan, and moan.
I want to retain it,
Next season's the
trying to
big one.
retain
I
it. I see where
guarantee
he's
you
coming
next
from.
season, if City are firing next
Yeah.
season, they'll have to improve their midfield next season. 100%.
I feel like this is like the type of thinking I feel is why like teams like Man United fell off, why City fell off this season. You think you're so great, but then you don't get that replacement for Rodri, like that backup, that whatever, and then
Liverpool are great this
something
season
goes
because you've
wrong
been
and it
simple.
collapses.
They've kept it simple. He's not
Yeah.
a genius on a slot at the moment. He's kept it very, very simple. Next season's the real test for Liverpool.
yeah, 100%.
Retain him,
100%.
and he's a genius.
It's a really great call, Kai, because it's caused all sorts of problems in
I
here.
think
so
it's a
well
great
done.
call.
Thank you so much,
Good
Kai.
point.
We look forward to speaking to you
Yeah.
again.
It's one of those calls as
Yeah.
well. If an Arsenal fan or a City fan makes that call, everyone goes, "Oh, you're just bitter because they're top of the league and you're not," and trying to make yourself feel better. But a Liverpool fan saying it, I kind of see where it's come from. All the big clubs are worse than they usually were.
I don't agree. But anyway, let us now speak to Gabe, the Arsenal fan. I hope I've said that correctly. Gabe? Gabby?
Yes. Hello.
How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How about you guys?
Very well. Where are you
Thanks.
calling from, Gabe?
From Pittsburgh, PA, over in the States.
Pennsylvania.
Yes, sir. You got it.
I want to go there. Do you know why I want to go there? I want to go to Scranton.
Yeah.
Let me guess. You're an Office fan?
Yeah, boy. Have you been to Scranton?
I can't say I have. There's not much there, to be honest.
Mate.
Come to Pittsburgh. Much better.
No,
Did they actually shoot it in Scranton?
Probably. I want to go there.
I
wanna
do
see
So
want to.
Michael
Scranton is
Scarn.
Slough. Is that the same thing? It's the equivalent.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think so.
So you
I
want
think
to go
so.
to Scranton, really?
I really want to go to Scranton. It's an amazing place. How are you, Gabe? Anyway, everything going well? Everything going your way?
Yes, sir. All good.
Amazing. Who do you support?
Arsenal.
Unlucky.
Let me guess. Let me guess. You're going to give it to Bigham because we've seen you score 7 goals recently.
Not yet. I'll let the other Arsenal fans do that for me. There's plenty of them online.
Fair. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so I actually want to make an argument that the current Real Madrid squad have more on paper talent than the BBC era.
No, that's incorrect, sir. It's a great Real Madrid team at the moment. Don't get me wrong. Like Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Mbappe, Juppé. It's amazing. But that Ronaldo Bale era was, it was something else. It was historic.
You even had I think we kind of focus on Benzema, Ronaldo, and Bale, who were phenomenal. But then Cruz,
Casemiro, Modric.
I don't think there's been a midfielder. Obviously, the Barcelona midfielder.
Ramos at centre back
were great.
Cruz, do you agree with this, Gabe? Cruz, Casemiro, and Modric as a trio is the best midfield that Real Madrid have ever had. Even better than the Galactico era.
It's definitely up there. I'm not the biggest Cruz fan individually. I think he was more a product of a stable midfield. He's very good, but I think he's a bit
he was world class.
But Toni Kroos,
he's probably the best midfielder to ever come out.
Toni Kroos starts in this Real Madrid team.
They all started. Gabe, that's a great game that we can play here to explore whether your theory is correct or not. If we were to do a combined 11 of the era that I think the three of us sitting in the studio are in agreement was better, which was the Ronaldo Bale era. If we do a combined 11 of the Ronaldo Real Madrid era, and we'll call it the Mbappe Real Madrid era, if we did a combined 11, it's going to be virtually 100% Ronaldo era, isn't it?
Yeah, I do hear your point. I guess I'm more saying, like, for example, Ronaldo he only had one Champions League when he was 24. And the likes of Vinny and Rodrigo, Valverde, they already have 2.
That's because Ronaldo wasn't playing for Real Madrid, though.
Let's not.
Yeah, I guess my point
let's not overlook 2008. Yeah,
the potential of where they are right now.
Are you saying it's more of an even squad? Is that your point? It's more of a balanced even squad.
Maybe in depth, it's a better squad, but even
they have more depth, more versatile,
less based on the individual. Is that what you're trying to say? Maybe less big.
Yes.
Yeah, it's maybe a. But then
even in defense,
but then they even had back in the day. They had Hakimi was on the bench. You had
Marcelo at left back.
Yeah, okay. You had
Ramos at centre
Kovacic and
Pepe.
Ceballos were on the bench.
I think actually
Alaba,
the entire 11
Rudiger,
was better back
they're
then.
a bit more stable.
The same keeper or Navas, maybe not as good as Courtois.
I don't think Rudiger gets into that Real Madrid team back then.
Of course
though.
he doesn't.
Over Pepe,
Varane and Ramos. Varane and Ramos.
Yeah.
I'm
about the last one.
The final one. Yeah, fine. Varane gets in 1,000,000% over.
Keylor Navas, who's their keeper at the moment? Courtois.
Courtois
Courtois
better than Navas. Courtois better than Navas.
Is it still Carvajal now?
Carvajal both times, isn't it?
You'd rather a 26-year-old Carvajal than a...
Maybe Valverde at right back if you want to be fancy with it, because he's been
What
incredible.
about Jude Bellingham?
I don't think Jude Bellingham gets
Jude Bellingham don't get
as a
into
midfielder.
that.
As a
Doesn't touch
midfielder,
Cruz.
he doesn't get anywhere near that midfield that we've just said, does he? Cruz, Casemiro, Modric.
You don't think?
He'd be a sub for 5 minutes.
Is Luka Modric, genuinely, the best midfielder, say, Premier League era of all time?
No.
Is Luka Modric not the perfect midfielder?
He's amazing.
Who's a better midfielder than Luka Modric?
Premier League era.
Like, since the Premier League started. So if you think of like football,
From 92.
worldwide football from 92.
Zidane, Scholes.
Is he
No,
better?
no, Modric better than Scholes.
Modric ain't better than
Yes,
Scholes.
he is. Yes, please.
Hang on, you know when
Modric
you just said
is miles better
Zidane,
than
you know when
Scholes.
you just said Zidane there?
Miles
Do you
better.
think Real Madrid fans would prefer Zidane over Modric? Like, I wonder.
For the name.
You know,
Not just the name, just what he could do as well. Look, Modric was phenomenal, and he had this kind of this ratty nature to how he could defend on the ball, and then off the ball he was just sublime, and he could do all the things that you wanted him to do. But I think he's up there.
He's better than Xavi.
definitely in the argument.
He's better than Xavi. And
I don't know.
Iniesta.
I don't think he's better
if
than Xavi. or Iniesta.
Modric,
He's better than Xavi.
He's not better than
if
Xavi or
Modric was a
Iniesta.
Barcelona
Can control
player,
the game in the same way. Took Croatia to a World Cup final. Won the Ballon d'Or. Won more Champions Leagues than Xavi.
I'm not denying his
scored more
career,
goals.
but Xavi and
I know you're
Iniesta.
not, but
and
I'm
he's
just
at,
giving you why
and
he's
at
better than
40
Xavi.
years old, he's still going.
And he's still going to a longer degree as well. And he did it in the Premier League. Xavi never did.
If Luka Modric,
Don't forget, there was
what
that
do you think
chat
to
when
the-
in his early Real Madrid days where they were saying it was a waste of money.
Gabe, what do you
but
think
that's
to
Real
this?
Madrid fans,
If
yeah.
Luka Modric was around for the Barcelona midfield, You know, the Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets.
Tough.
Does Luka Modric break his way into that trio?
I think there's an argument to be made that he could maybe replace Iniesta, but even saying it out loud sounds crazy.
No,
so
unless
I don't
you put
think
Iniesta left wing,
What
like
do you
he
think?
used to do that. The only thing is about that argument is they all played together at the youth academy and they had this
La
relationship.
Liga, you know, we do Premier League all-time 11, and we always have the debate, Keane, Scholes, whatever. La Liga 11. What's the 3 midfielders?
All time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question.
Zidane's in it.
Is he won one league title?
I'd go.
Figo. Think about the Galacticos.
we're doing
What
three
midfielder?
midfield.
Is there
We're not
4
doing-
midfielders?
Okay,
let's,
as a
let's do
winger.
3 midfielders.
I'd go Busquets.
Busquets for sure.
Busquets, Zidane.
Xavi and not Zidane.
Xavi or
It's not
Iniesta.
Zidane, is it?
No, it is Zidane.
I think it's Modric, lads.
It's Modric, Xavi, Busquets.
Iniesta, though.
But they're not Iniesta.
No, they're Iniesta. Iniesta's ahead of Xavi for me.
Iniesta, Modric, Busquets, something like that.
Ah, you can just
I'm being
say all the
flexible.
names.
I just want Modric to be in there.
I could put Zidane in any of them, and he stands clear.
What do you think, Gabe? You get the final say on this. Your 3 midfielders for La Liga all-time midfield.
I'm going to go with Busquets, Iniesta, and Mesut Ozil from Real Madrid.
No!
You've had a mate. He's an Arsenal fan. We know your game. Gabriel.
That was the end game of this call. Just get
You've gone too far.
I've already thrown up.
Unbelievable. Gabriel, thank you so much for getting in touch,
You're a
mate. We really do
disgrace.
appreciate
Gabriel.
it. And we look forward to speaking to you very soon.
Gabby.
What do you think to that one then, lads?
I thought it was a great question, but I do think Zidane gets into an all-time Real Madrid 11, all-time La Liga 11, and he's probably Real Madrid's greatest player. Up there anyway.
Right, those calls have been fantastic. And thank you so much to everybody who's contributed to this show. Remember, if you want to get involved, if you want to have a chat with us next week, make sure that you click the link down in the description. It's the Discord link, and we could be speaking to you next week. For the people that didn't necessarily have the time to give us a call, they have sent us a few voice notes. Should we go through them now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey guys, I'm Lucy. I'm a Man City fan and I love the show.
We found the
especially you,
second one.
Buvey. And I just wanted to ask what your thoughts were about players having party lifestyles. Like, for example, if you take Jack Grealish, he's been getting a lot of stick for it online recently. So I wanted to know your thoughts.
No stick from me, Lucy. No stick from me at all. No, I'm being serious. I thought, I nearly put it on Twitter, but I didn't bother. But there was an image going around of Jack Grealish who was in like a working man's club. And apparently he stuck a couple of grand behind a bar, stayed there until he was drunk and bought everyone a drink and had a good time. And I think good luck to him.
Yeah,
Fair play.
there's nothing wrong with that, Royce.
Absolutely
I'm
nothing
on
wrong.
your
There is-
side.
there is
The
nothing
issue
wrong
is
with that.
It's a performance issue on the pitch. He's just had an injury after playing against Real Madrid, barely played since then. Performances in the last couple of years. You're a £100 million player. It's not about how you interact with a working man's club, going to the pub, enjoying your life. But it's similar to Rashford as well. It's a very similar thing to Rashford. I don't think he's applying himself in the right way in training. And that's an issue. You're an asset. You're a big footballer.
But they're very different things.
But
So-
mid-season, do you want to see a £100 million player drinking, coming out of a separate day, coming out of a pub drunk, mid-season? Well, as an FA Cup
Do
play
you know
for
where I
Champions League
struggle with
football.
this? I kind of find footballers nowadays more unrelatable than ever before. Like far better players than Chelsea have at the moment were far more relatable and far more accessible. Like when I was a kid, I could go to Harlington where we used to train near Heathrow. I think QPR train there now. I could go, you could just go. And Mark Hughes would volley one over the bar and he'd tell you to go and get the ball. Mark Hughes, man, one of the best strikers Chelsea ever had. I couldn't get within 10 foot of Enzo Fernandez, who I wouldn't want to get within 10 foot of, but you can't get near him. So suddenly Jack Grealish is an accessible, interesting, relatable footballer who you can get near, who's interesting, who's generous, who's a normal guy, just wicked at football.
I think he's an amazing footballer, and I also kind of agree with you. There's nothing wrong with that at the right times and stuff. The issue comes for me, and it's not with fans like yourself who kind of don't mind Jack Grealish being like that. My issue comes from like the red tops and the media and the news and stuff like that. Because when it's Jack Grealish, it's oh, look how nice Jack Grealish is. He's one of the lads and this, that, and other. But when it's Marcus Rashford, it's like, it's the way the headlines are, it's a different angle that they take completely. And I think they pick and choose who to kind of dig out for these things and who not.
but Marcus
That's
Rashford
my issue.
Really dug out this week.
That's my issue with it.
That's the
And
issue.
Marcus Rashford missed training. That was like when Marcus Rashford was in Belfast, it's because he missed training that he was the highlight.
But it still is. There is a bias with the media towards certain players, and other players don't really get that.
Look, the two things I think are very different. If somebody's telling me that Jack Grealish isn't applying himself in training, that's obviously not acceptable.
He went a year without scoring a goal.
Yeah,
That's different. His game's never been about goals.
Could that not be linked?
I'll defend him to the hilt. No,
if they're linked, then it's a problem.
his
If they're not
injuries are
linked,
an
then
issue.
it's not a problem.
If you're injured, you shouldn't be going to the pub, surely. Mid-season.
If you're injured,
he's
there's
got
more
an
reason
if
to
injury.
go
you're
to the
injured,
pub.
you can go to the pub.
Yeah, there's more reason to go to the pub.
No way. He's on the borderline of being available to play, and you don't want to see him going to a pub at this stage in the season when the things at City are fighting for things.
It is interesting to see it from a
Sounds so
City
boring. I
fan
know it
perspective.
sounds so boring, and what Rory says right about when you were younger is you're spot on. But he is £100 million asset. He's getting paid 250 grand a week. Like these are the realities. He's a privileged person.
I just like him.
My question is, if you could be involved in any Premier League match from the past, what would it be?
Oh,
What if I
great
could play?
question.
What a
Do you mean if I could play in it?
Yeah.
If I could play in a particular football match?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mine is, I've got two, both between Manchester United and Arsenal. And it'd either be the Battle of the Buffet, because I'd love to get stuck into that tunnel
Yeah, Fabregas.
and just start throwing stuff around and throwing my weight around. Or when we beat them 4-2 at Highbury. And you know when Keno and Vieira
John
had that
O'Shea
in the
score?
tunnel, John O'Shea scores, Ronaldo makes Henry look like a dick, all of that stuff. I'd have loved to be involved. You know where there's aggro going on.
There's that. There's two ways of looking at it. I think that's an interesting angle and very in keeping with what I thought you would say, right? Do you know the other angle, which I think must be an amazing moment? Can you imagine being given a guard of honour by like serious players?
With Dong Fangzhou coming out and that, and you
Like-
got Chelsea giving you a guard of honour. That'd be
No,
great.
yeah. So we gave you one. You gave us one.
That's
You
why,
gave us one at
yeah.
Old Trafford.
Fergie made us do it.
You gave us one at Old Trafford. And do you know, I was looking at the league. The reason why this is on my mind, perhaps, is because I was looking at the fixtures. You know the way that it's going. Liverpool could end up getting a guard of honour, but from Arsenal or Chelsea.
Can't clubs just go, we're not doing it?
No, they can, but it's incredibly
Come
wrong.
on, man.
I remember thinking, just don't do it.
No, but
Fergie.
it's so wrong. I think what the fans should do, and this is what I did when we had to do one at Stamford Bridge, stay out of the ground. Try
Yeah.
and make the ground empty for the guard of honour.
Also,
But
I
the players
suppose
have to do it.
managers use it as like, you know, when Fergie went,
Inspiration.
you don't want to walk past that trophy. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, as
Yeah,
you don't want to have to do that again.
But I think if you're a player, like obviously, if you were given a guard of like Frank Lampard leading Chelsea out, watching Rio Ferdinand in the Manchester United kit, give him a guard of honour.
You know what game I'd love to be involved in? Non-Man United game.
Mm.
Chelsea 2, Spurs 2.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can
That
you
was a
imagine?
good
That was
one.
nasty.
The atmosphere, the
Stopping them winning the
tackles
league.
flying
That
in.
was nasty.
That was a beautiful
The
game.
goal from Hazard. We don't talk
The
about
goal
that
from
now.
Hazard. I mean, that was the first game he played that season that actually turned up and played. I mean, the performance from Costa. You know, they
Oh,
went
so
2-0
good,
up.
so good.
Harry Kane. Yeah, no, it's an
Any
amazing.
games? Any games? Any games?
It's an amazing. I mean, I can think of loads I'd love to play in.
I love the QPR. The QPR game was special for every City fan for
Yeah.
obvious reasons. But to be on the pitch, see Joe Hart celebrating, doing cartwheels. Imagine being on the pitch. I know, obviously different as a rival fan, but be on the pitch for a last-minute win against QPR to win the league.
Do you know the one
Wow.
problem with this? Do you know why I wouldn't pick that one? Because I love the idea of like QPR fans were happy that day. You know, if you'd relegated them,
Yeah.
but like a couple of my mates, QPR fans, were on the pitch celebrating
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they
They were happy
survived.
with-
They
yeah,
survived. You won the league. Everyone's a winner.
Yeah.
I think I'd prefer it. Your success has to equal their failure.
Yeah.
I'd try and pick one.
Buvey
that
on
had
the opposite side of the pitch to Mancini so he can't hear him telling him to come off.
that. Yeah.
I'd definitely get substituted.
Hey, Booth!
Yeah. Do you remember when Flav tried to substitute you and you swore at him? Flav
No, I
went,
didn't
Buvey,
swear.
will you come off? You went, fuck! Flav was like, I don't even care. Amazing. Let's listen to the next one.
Greetings, gentlemen. This is Lohit. You all have been on The Overlap, which is a really popular show with some proper legends and Carragher. Can you share your most memorable moment and your most embarrassing one on the show? Cheers, boys. Have a good one.
I got mine.
Yeah,
top of
I
the
mean,
head.
mine is obvious, right?
Booth, what's yours?
Well, Paul Scholes slagged me off for where I come from.
He didn't slag you off. He just
He
asked
did.
you a question.
No. There was a, you know,
He just
full well
said
there was an
ASL to
implication
you
there.
and you went,
know-
what?
No, there was an implication that I'm not. There's an
He's
implication.
nice to me, though. I'm from
Despite half
Birmingham.
of the Man United fans coming from London. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So why would you have an issue with that? He's nice to me.
I didn't like the implication. I never liked him anyway as a footballer or for England. No, I didn't. So I didn't. There we go.
My worst moment was I never prepare for these shows, right? Ask Rory, my head went, I never prepare for these shows. And one show I was on a train, so I thought, Right, I'm going to get asked about this today, so I'll make a note of what I'm going to say, right? So I made this note, I think it was about Rashford, and I made like a proper like notes, and then I went to say it all, and my head just went.
Yeah. You can't make.
And it was
notes
like, this is why you don't prepare for stuff.
No.
Because, and then I just bottled everything, and I couldn't talk for ages, and I just felt hot and sweaty.
Yeah.
But the best moments are when Paul Scholes says my name.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah.
He says me and Adam, and I go, wait, what?
Yeah. No, the obviously the most embarrassing moment was my moment with Neve.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was the obvious one for that. And then I think my favourite moment is when I said something about Frank Lampard, and Frank Lampard liked the. It's just got such power, the overlap. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's great show.
And as a result, it's yeah. I mean,
when a video goes, you see like Usain Bolt in your likes and stuff like that.
I know. I just find it crazy. Like, you know, when you're sitting there, particularly if you're like my generation, I'm sitting there with Jamie Carragher and Paul Scholes, chatting to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's mental. It's such an honour. It really is.
I shouldn't be allowed anywhere near. Like Paul Scholes is up here.
Yeah, no,
I shouldn't be allowed to talk to him.
No, it's proper imposter syndrome moment, isn't it? Like sitting there and like Jamie Carragher go kind of, what do you reckon, Rory? Like, I don't know. What do you reckon? You won a European Cup.
Yeah, like I used to have, like it's cliche, but I had posters on my wall of him.
No,
like all my school books, I just write his name in them with the United 11.
No, very much so.
Now we're
very
mates.
much so.
Thank you very much to Skybet. Thank you to you, the club OGs at home, for being involved with the show. Make sure you're clicking that link in the description below to join the Discord so you could be a part of it. Get your voice notes in. Get signed up for a call, and we'll see you on the next one. See you in a bit.